Hello, welcome once again to AmfaTube. Interpol, it's a very popular name across the globe. We used to hear news like blue collar notice has been issued against a particular individual. Red notice has been issued for a fugitive. So what are all these notices about? What is a function of Interpol? What are the objectives? What is the modus operandi of Interpol? How the system can help in controlling the crimes? And last but not the least, how Interpol is being misused by many government leaders. All this we are going to cover today in AmfaTube discussion. Please keep watching, and if you find the sessions in AmfaTube is really interesting and relevant, please do support and share with your friends and colleagues and keep in touch. Please move on to the details. What is Interpol? It is the international police. International Criminal Police Organization is the detailing for Interpol. In the presentation, we will see what are different types of notices, the types of crimes Interpol handling, how it functions, and what are the different case studies of Interpol being misused. Examples of political dissidents listed in red notice category of Interpol, and what are the policies, precautions in Interpol's constitution for preventing misuses. Let's go through the details. Interpol is, as such, it's not a police force which is going to arrest any convicted or a wanted criminal. Rather, it is an international body which helps the police forces in different countries to network together, to cooperate, help each other, to spot out a person who is being declared wanted from a member country. It does not have powers to arrest a particular person or to investigate crimes. We know Interpol has 195 member countries. India is also one of the members. And funding for Interpol is happening from these member countries and other organizations. Interpol was started in 1923, which is headquartered in France, Lyon. There is another term which we should familiarize, NCB, which stands for National Central Bureau. This is a division of the police in a given country which exchanges information with Interpol. Typically, this will be a section of the police force, of a police agency inside that country. In India, NCB of Interpol is part of CBI, and NIA used to communicate with that. In some countries, this NCB carries the name Interpol itself. For example, in UK, Interpol Manchester. China's Interpol is called Interpol China, though they are entirely an independent organization from the Interpol. India has become member in Interpol in 1956. And different types of crimes Interpol is handling. One is corruption. Another one is related to currency and documents counterfeit. Crimes against children. It can be sexual abuse, it can be labor issues, it can be trafficking. Cultural heritage crimes are coming under Interpol. Cybercrime. Now it's a very, very severe threat across the globe, and that needs a network across nations. Drug trafficking, which is an age-old issue between the countries. Environmental crime, financial crime, Then firearms related crime, firearms and ammunition trafficking, human trafficking, illicit goods, maritime crime. I mean, this is again an interesting area where many of the sea area would be a common place or would not be under any particular country's law and order. In those situations, especially, Interpol has to intervene to settle a dispute between two countries. In recently, in India, between India and Italy, there was a issue where some of the fishermen got killed by Italian Navy persons. And similar cases, Interpol's intervention used to be required. Then a particular organized crime is happening where the culprits are operating from different countries. Then people smuggling, terrorism, which is a universally very very severe issue nowadays. Vehicle related crime, war crimes. These are all under the purview of Interpol. We have understood there are 195 member countries connected at present, and the main three aspects of this crime programs. One is countering the terrorism, then second one is preventing or countering organized and emerging crimes. Another one is addressing the cyber crimes. And this is a very important topic which we are going to address, different types of notifications. We are all familiar with, through the media, different notices by Interpol. Red notice, yellow notice, blue corner notice, black notice, green, orange and purple. What are the different notices stands for? Red notice, definitely it stands for a wanted person who is requested by a member country and who has to be deported from another member country. So in those situations, the NCB of the host country will issue or will communicate a request for red notice to Interpol, and Interpol, after a review, will circulate the red notice about the wanted person across its member nations. And all this immigration and port police and police forces would be given this notice communication. Another one is yellow notice. When somebody goes missing, then yellow notice is circulated to spot out that particular person, to trace him. Another one is blue corner notice, which is becoming very familiar nowadays. It is many times mistaken as kind of a wanted person or a criminal kind of an image when blue corner notice being issued against a person. But please note that blue corner notice doesn't stand for a particular person being declared convicted. It is only a request for getting additional information from a country where the person is doubted or assumed to be staying, or he's presently residing, presently staying. Then wherever the crime or a case has been filed against him, that country will request for a blue notice for additional information about him to other countries. Then black notice is for unidentified dead bodies. Green notice is very important when it is issued for a warning and intelligence. When a particular crime has happened in one place, when it is about to happen in other, repeat or replicated in other places, green notice will be issued to keep the other potential locations, potential countries, very safe and precautious. So it is an intelligence notice. Orange notice is issued when a very imminent threat is expected to happen in a particular country, in particular countries or locations. Then orange notice is issued or circulated to those countries. Purple notice is to elaborate the modus operandi of a particular crime which was conducted, which was organized in a particular place, which is expected to happen in other places. So, the modus operandi of crime, it can be an explosion, it can be a robbery, it can be a cyber crime, it can be an assassination. So, those operations, how it got operated from planning to execution, what are the different ways and means by which it was operated, those modus operandi will be elaborated and circulated so that any kind of information, any kind of even traces of those incidents, if it is becoming visible or it can be observed and it can be prevented. And another last one is Interpol UN Security Council Special Notice. This is issued for keeping a particular person, a particular organization under sanctions so that they don't get enough resources, they don't get enough funding or resources and supports to organize any new crimes. There is another important document available in the public domain regarding Interpol Constitution. Presently, the Secretary General of Interpol is Jürgen Stark. He is from Germany and he has an experience of working in police and intelligence. So this is an interesting page from Interpol's publicly available Red Notice area. A few of the names which are very familiar through the media: Nirav Modi, Mehul Choksi, Sugumara Kurupu, and similar names. Still, they are under Red Notice by Interpol. And any notice that should be circulated through Interpol must meet legal criteria. The General Secretariat will review the notice request from a member country, and if it complies with Interpol's constitution and fulfills all conditions for processing the information, then the notice will be circulated. For example, a notice will not be published if it violates Article 3 of Interpol's constitution. Okay, that forbids organization from undertaking any intervention or activities of a political, military, religious, or racial character for any of this kind of gain. If a member country is using a red notice, Interpol should not encourage that. And the legal basis for a red notice is an arrest warrant or a court order issued by the judicial authorities in the country of country concerned. And other member countries, a red notice is considered to be a valid request for a provisional arrest. And very important point is, any individual who is subject to an Interpol notice should be considered innocent until proven guilty. That is very important. Only because somebody is included in red notice, Interpol will never ever consider him a guilty. Rather, it is a alert for a provisional arrest, and he will be declared a criminal after proven guilty. And even the arrest procedure also will be followed as per the law in the country where the person has exiled. Interpol's Financial Crime and Anti-Corruption Center, called IFCAC. So this again has multiple stakeholders to address financial and anti-corruption crimes. The stakeholders are Financial Action Task Force, then FATF style regional bodies, then financial intelligence units. These are mainly to address the fraud and payment crime, anti-money laundering and asset recovery, and anti-corruption. How Interpol is being misused. There are number of cases where Interpol was misused for tracking a person who was either a journalist like Michelle Betts, or who was a political dissident, like a Benevenда, and similar cases from different countries we have seen. And later on, after realizing those their names were removed from the red notice category, and how to handle a red notice. A red notice is an electronic alert circulated by Interpol at the request of NCB, and it is stored in Interpol's database, and it can be seen by the police and immigration authorities across the world who are the member countries. And the function of a red notice is to seek the location of a wanted person and do the arrest as per the country where he is presently expected to be residing. And a red notice contains the information like the name, date of birth, his nationality, his or her nationality, and a photograph, and a small brief about the crime or the case he has been declared as a wanted person. And what happens to that particular notice, what happens to that person will differ according to the country in which he is found. And another point is the red notices, all the red notices are not publicly available. Around 10% are only publicly available, and others will be in a confidential circulation across this police force and immigration authorities. There is another document called diffusions. If diffusions are also similar to red notice, the purpose is similar, but it is not circulated widely. Rather, it is circulated to the selected countries as more as an informal communication to track a particular person. And a negative thing is there is no thorough review and approval system for a diffusion in Interpol. So many times a diffusion get through the Interpol for limited circulation. Okay. But so like red notice, this also serve the same purpose if the other circulated countries are cooperating in the same way expected by the country who was circulating it. And how to find out if somebody is there in a red notice, because if how can I check whether I am there in red notice, whether you are there in red notice? So very some simple and elementary things are, we can go to the Interpol website, and there is a section for view red notices. There we can type the name and check a particular person is still there in the red notice category, or whether he has been listed in red notice. And as we have discussed earlier, only 10% is available on public domain, and others will be under police. So if somebody is living in other country, he can take the information. He can request the police force to check whether he is there in or a particular person is being listed in red notice. And if the police cooperates, or police replies properly, it can be found. And other possible methods are, police is one method, and another one is by law. Take a help of a counsel or advocate or an expert, and request using data protection laws in that particular country. So if a particular person is by mistake or not in a genuine way being included in a red notice, he or she can approach CCF, the Commission for the Control of Interpol's Files. CCF has got two chambers. One is a special advisory chamber, another one is a request chamber. And there can be a request given to the request chamber of CCF to access your file. And remember, Interpol has accepted 4 languages as for official communication. One is English, another French, Spanish, and Arabic. So any of these four languages can be used for the communication with Interpol, and that should be addressed to the Commission CCF at the France Lyon address, which is given here. And the Article 3 of Interpol's constitution is a very strict article for preventing the misuse, where it strictly forbid for Interpol to engage in any activities of political, religious, military or racial character. Article 2 says to obey align with the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Then rules on the process of data, RPD, which includes detailed provision on rate notice and deficiency. This is the main rule book that the CCF applies. So this is also another provision to give information about a doubted person to whether he has been or she has been included in that notice. So data RPD, rules on the process of data. And another important one, which is very relevant in many of the political cases, a special policy that applies to individuals who have been recognized as refugees under 1951 Convention relating to the status of refugees. If somebody is given a refugee status, he or she cannot be very easily deported through an Interpol red notice. We have seen many cases in recent past, and these are the policies to prevent misuses. Hope this session was useful, and please do your comment, keep your suggestions and opinions in the comment box so that it will help in framing up the upcoming sessions in AmfaTube. And again, wish you all a wonderful day. Thank you so much.